This is Justice League by Van Morrison. This is issue 30. It is the third part of that evil genie story that I have been covering very slowly. This is the cover. It's got a decent cover. It's a team shot, but it's a team shot of the Justice Society of Superheroes. So we have got the Flask here. This is the one with a funny hat. My favourite version of the Flask. Up there is Green Lanterns, the original Green Lanterns, John Scott. This is Wonder Woman. I think she was in a film. My favourite DC character up top. This is the Spectre, Black Panther. And this is Joaquin Fundas, and he is utter rubbish. There are two main stories going on. The first one is that there's a whole bunch of evil genies, and the other one is about this character here. He is called Trump, and he wants to take over the Justice League for himself. He is an old member of the team who is very bitter. He wants to be the leader and boss them all about. Basically, he wants to be superior to everyone else. He was created by Martin Quaid, and Van Morrison made him into a baddie in this story. And down here you can see he is beating up Steel Superman. And look at that, twatting him through the wall. This story is called Christmas times 5. And if you do the maths, that is a lot of Christmases. And at the bottom, we have got the cast of characters. And Joaquin Fundas, he is the only really major dud. Like, there are some others here that I didn't like Archangel and Black Panther. But they are fine in this story. And Trump, he is mind controlling two odd members of the Justice League. We have got Rayman there, and up there is Gypsy, but didn't call her that anymore because that name is considered offensive. And Steel Superman, he is hiding away in the ventilation systems, a bit like that Mel Gibson film, Dying Hard. And Trump, he is going around the Justice League satellite and he is burning the statues of the members. Trump, he actually has an evil genie of his own. I think there are 5 genies, and here we have got Joaquin Fundas. His genie is fighting one of them, and we get a good little bit of a recap up here. Green Lanterns got sucked off into the 5th dimension. Elastic Man has been turned to stone, and we now have 2 genies going crazy. This story is the one that actually introduced Joaquin Fundas. And as I said before, he is boring. He is just as boring as his predecessor, Johnny Fundas. I just didn't like this whole concept. I think it is a weak character with rubbish powers. But this is what I like. The Spectre, my favourite DC character. The evil genies defeated Spectre off panel, and here we are seeing what's going on. Green Lanterns, John Scott and Archangel, they have gone to investigate, and I read somewhere, or someone told us, that Archangel here, he was like a stand-in for Stephen Hawkman. Like, Van Morrison wanted to use Stephen Hawkman, and he intended the whole angel falling from heaven thing to be his take on Stephen Hawkman. But for whatever reason, he introduced a new character instead. I didn't really remember. But Spectre, he got beat by the genies. They imprisoned him inside a rock, and he has turned into a planetary mass. And there are life forms actually living on him. And Green Lanterns and Archangel, they have got to decide whether or not to sacrifice all the lives that are living on him so that they can free the Spectre. It's kind of a classic moral dilemma, all done via the inventive Van Morrison style. Advert there for what looks like a terrible film. Young Justice. What is it with DC always advertising Young Justice? I am kidding, of course. I have got no ill will towards this version, the original version. I have not read it, but it's not by Michael Brian Benson, so it is probably better. On Earth, we have got the Justice League and a subplot here with Batman and Aquaman. And here we are in the fifth dimension. Green Lanterns, the Kyle Reese version, and Captain Marbles, the real one, Billy Batson, they are trapped. And I quite like how the art is done here. It's like classic, it's kind of retro, it's kind of like the Golden Age style, but it's uncomfortably squashed and stretched. It helps sell this dimension as being weird and a bit psychedelic. Then this fella called Quisper shows up and he starts torturing Kyle, and through him we get a little bit of backstory, some explanation for what's going on with these genies, a lot of trippy images, and down here Kyle Gans, it is you and me against the fifth dimension, Captain Marbles, the real one, Billy Batson. But trust me, in a world this crazy, you are the guy I want on my side. Meanwhile, back on the Justice League satellite watching tower, Steel Superman is still crawling around, and it's a bit like groundskeeper Wally in The Simpsons. Woman, I need my grease now. You know, it's a classic episode, that one. The one where Principal Spinster loses his job cause there's a cat in the vents, and Bart Simpson becomes his friend. Billy and the Clonosaurus dinosaurs, come on, it's a real classic. So Minuteman shows up and he helps steal Superman, and back on Earth Quisper shows up, and genies are boring, and look, it's some Nathan Van Scribbler art. Meet the Dark Knight's new partner. It's the Flask, the Bart version, the Bart Simpsons version. It's been a very Simpsons heavy comic, hasn't it? And Trump is up to his usual Mr. Shenanigans. He wants to go down to Earth and beat up all the genies himself to prove to everyone that he is just the best. But look, Batman and Aquaman are waiting for him, and it says to be concluded, and that is like to be continued, but it means that the next one is going to be the last one. Genies and Noyers, Johnny Thunders and Noises, Jakeem Thunders and Noises. Trump is like the worst character ever. I hate Spectre being utterly demolished by the baddie of the week just to establish how powerful they are. But if anyone can take all these awful ingredients and make a halfway decent story, it would be Van Morrison. He is a really good writer, a really good thinker, and this is a bit like, I just realised, well, I didn't just realise, it's clearly meant to be like an art school style Christmas crossover, like Christmas on Apocalypse or Christmas on Earth Eggs. I'm going to rate this one 7 thumbs up.